Certainly had good performances on as well. Okay, it's a lot of priority on this double tank combo if this Cho'Gath is once again going to be locked in.
Is the flex, though, is what we can say, and it's something we expected from the Afrika Freaks given their previous drafting strategies, and something that Rox seem to be heavily prioritizing is the ambiguity and general power that drafting Maokai and Cho'Gath, the most invoked tanks on patch 7.14, brings them on the blue side. So SKT may actually start banning supports in this particular case. Waiting for their pick here. Could just be a Cassiopeia, but Lucian is maybe even stronger in a blind pick sense.
Wow,
Meant to be blind pick mid lane Lucian. Outside chance they copy KT Rolster and flex it to bot lane. Almost said support, but
well, we hope not, because it didn't work out very well for KT Rolster. And speaking of which, we heard Score talking about this Lucian not necessarily having counterpicks, and Faker playing it certainly like a champion that doesn't have equal in that mid lane.
One of the champions you might levy as a counterpick is the Cassiopeia, so banning that away to be potentially picked up by Lava.
Yeah, a couple of options available for Lava, but he's not necessarily that pressure laner. Probably wants to nullify this Lucian if he can. Renekton going to be taken away from Antara as they try and shore things up for Linderong towards the top side as Syndra go to the next ban. So Lava having an okay performance last time around, but making sure that he switches things up moving into game 2.
And may tunnel him in on something very low damage. Could still go Talia and be able to push. And it is a pick that he loves from solo queue. But if he is forced to go on something like...
banned anyway.
That's true, I missed that. That was actually the first ban. So it may even force the Karma, which is the only other champion of note, maybe Corki as an option. But Lucian beats Corki in lane, so we're very much at the ends of the champion pool from Lava for picks into Lucian.
Galio's available, but Lucian's picked into Galio basically every single time.
Did play his first game of Galio last series. Looking for AD carry and top lane as the final two picks from SKT.
Yeah, Giải going to be locked in here for Bang.
No big surprises there. Doesn't do that bad in the auto attack trades with the Kalista. Looking for answers here are the Rox Tigers, and maybe we'll see the first visit onto Victor for Lava.
Does certainly fit his wheelhouse as Kayn is being looked at. Not sure whether there's any roles for him to go into there, as Lava does just opt in for the sub-standard matchup with the Corki into the Lucian.
How do you like tanks?
I like tanks a lot.
This would be a Gragas support most likely if it was actually taken.
No, Maokai support.
Could be.
And Gragas jungle.
Yeah, probably just playing around, but there's an outside chance we do see the Gragas. Some people have been messing around with it in solo queue at the support role. Okay, we will see Gragas. Could be Gragas support or Maokai support. I've played a game of Cho'Gath support, but even I'm not going to suggest that's what's going to happen.
I could certainly imagine you would, Pub Smithy. How did you manage to play the Cho'Gath in AP attack speed based fashion?
I just went full tank, I'm sorry to tell you.
Oh, really?
I wanted to win some LP.
You're my Nash's Tooth Lichbane player on everything.
Well, I was going in LP focus, and okay, the champion that really seemed to signal the downfall for SKT was their over-prioritization of Jax, the tail end of Rift Rivals, and early in their return from that particular tournament. They're going to return to it here with a very unknown matchup. There's a lot of options here for the Tigers to take into the Jax, but none of them are really going to punish Jax, that's for sure. They just prioritize Untara, going on a comfort pick. Both Untara and Huni extensively playing the Jax in recent weeks. We're waiting to see all the tussles.
Okay, yeah, they're switching it around so much. They got 2 seconds to go, and it will be the Maokai support. And it's what we predicted with the Gragas in the jungle and the Cho'Gath towards the top side of the map. Once again for Linderong now with the Jax to do battle against. They were doing some cute stuff there, and you can see cheek grins on the Rox Tigers.
You and I cast the one time we ever saw a player return to Maokai support multiple times. That was OMG in LPL Spring 2015.
Sivir Maokai.
Debut for this duo as they are against SKT. Really liking the Lucian blind pick in the context of when they got it, and they could also protect against some of the skill matchups available against the Lucian. So first visit of the support Maokai. It's against Alistair. The tanks are in full vogue for Rox Tigers.
Yeah, and it was the Jax that was the downfall of SKT, but the Alistair's there, which is what managed to bring them back up. We'll see what is going to reign supreme as we get onto the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Okay. Aww.
Stealing a kiss on the broadcast.
Cuties in the audience, man.
I want to know what Caster said there.
미니언 생성까지 30초.
There's been a lot of arrows pointing to people as the cowbell is being heard in our
Yeah.
ears.
I want to go back to the cowbell.
Yeah, it is.
See, look, this is Wolf's the best at it as well because he does the sick 360s.
The cowbell animation cancels.
Oh, cowbellmation cancels.
You can keep your Lucian animation cancels. I'm into the cowbell animation cancels.
Oh, look. So Key is now going with Charred Maokai because Maokai got so burnt up against the Rumble in the last game. Oh, it's just so good.
You can't help but laugh. It's great. There's nothing not to love about it.
I just want Wolf to get that same outfit and wear it whilst he plays Maokai.
If you think about support Maokai to just transition for a second, does help with leashes. Interestingly.
Hey, that's true.
It's pretty helpful. You can throw the sapling into the brush and get that extra maximum HP damage. So a super leash in a different fashion coming through from the Rox Tigers. Someone's happy.
I also really love the amount of vision you can provide with a Maokai and a Callista without using any wards. You've got Sentinels and Saplings that last longer now.
So what you're saying is you also pick Rek'Sai jungle and you just don't buy vision.
Exactly. And you have Ashe mid from Season 1 so you can just fork shot.
Smart choice. Some people aren't going to get that reference and it makes me sad. She doesn't say that anymore.
Really?
She has all the world on one arrow now. They changed that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, but did she have that quote anymore at all, ever?
Nope.
Oh, damn.
The champion select hover message was smart choice before.
Never actually played much Ashe in solo queue. I played Ashe, built a Thornmail in the tutorial mode, and was like, this item doesn't really do very well, so this champion
That
must
packed
be bad.
up your history with Ashe 7 years ago?
Yeah, I actually had a friend when I first started playing League of Legends who said, Ashe is my champion. Never mind that, Faker getting body slammed in the mid lane and no flashes needing to be blown, but there's the cleanse immediately to get Faker out of the way.
Sort of thing where teams will watch this and see just how fast you can super leash, because Gragas was mid lane before Faker could even anticipate it. Doesn't get the flash out of Faker, but getting any summoners out of Faker pre 4 minutes surprise, and they do get the cleanse.
And also giving Lava that health lead as well. So with a volatile matchup like this, really cute movement out of the way of that piercing light. And we saw with Faker's Lucian especially, those piercing lights just land. I mean, he's killing minions with it, but he's also killing his opponent with it almost every single time. He's now going to back though, grab his first item or two, see what he can do to continue adding extra pressure, because if that is, okay, not quite able to afford advanced just yet, only 20 CS.
But the excitement around the Faker Lucian is starting to grow. We saw it in solo queue in pretty extended fashion before we finally saw it on the competitive scene. Only 2 games, but 2 victories, so we're really fishing for a new undefeated champion for Faker, and maybe the Lucian will be his new prized pick.
Yep, the next one. Let's go on the list. There's still a few of those. Wow, Linderon's doing some work here against Antara this time. Very different matchup.
It's the first time we've seen the Cho'Gath preferred into the Jax. It was Gragas last time, you'll remember, against Jax, and I was wondering about whether Cho would be the priority. The tankiness stats given to you by the ultimate aren't relevant compared to potential for the feast to just take you down, so excited to see how this matchup goes. I was looking at some solo queue accounts, and there's some Trinity Force Cho'Gath sneaking around. I don't think this is going to be the game for it, but that'd be some sick burst.
The Trinity Force Cho'Gath. That is the kind of meta that I want to be involved in.
It's never been an item on him previously because your spell cooldowns were so long and the toggle doesn't count as a Sheen proc, but now that your Vorpal Spikes are a on-hit effect, it does mean some sick auto-attack cancel burst damage.
Yeah, precisely. Sheen now a whole lot more worth it, but I like Iceborne Gauntlet as well. You could possibly go with that one at the same time. Synergizes with other armor if he decides to pick that up. And here against Skt with 3 pretty heavy auto attackers, I have a feeling we may be seeing some Bramble Vests, Papa Smithy.
Frozen Heart as well from the Cho'Gath or Gragas would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Imagine Frozen Heart as well as the Cold Steel passive that it now resides on the Thornmail.
pretty tilting.
Yeah, I'm triggered. Haven't even seen it happen yet. Gonna ruin the day of Faker and Bang if they can make it to that point. Faker's known to have a heck of a lot of power on this pick.
Cleanse up into half second. Not going to be relevant.
Yeah, Songwon not going to be able to find anything. It's going to do the relentless pursuit that dodges out of the way of the barrel, so no harassment either. Faker's going to be unhindered as he shoves forward in this lane. Linderong has been expertly avoiding these counter-strikes, but that Empower starting to hurt. Not even a Sheen yet on Antara. Linderong hasn't gone back yet, so still waiting for that to happen.
Bit greedy with his first purchase. I imagine Righteous Glory first, but you could just build a Glacial Shroud and work it out later.
Yeah, a few options. So as we check into the bottom side of the map, 50, 53, something like that. Very even as there's the body slam connecting onto Antara.
No cask.
Yeah, leaps his way out and yet doesn't quite have it just yet. Stole a bit of the experience from Linderong, but being a little bit ahead when it comes to that experience mark. But Songwon has made his presence a little bit more known.
Been a lot more active than Mighty Bear was able to be in Game 1. The Super Leash very helpful in that regard. Haven't really been able to tell too much about the Maokai laning, but against Alistar, you really do have the opportunity to run basically any melee champion.
Yeah.
And get away with it. So not expecting there to be any real impact of whether it was a Maokai or a Braum or another fairly burly melee support tank.
Interested to see some of the Twisted Advance interactions with the headbutt pulverizers coming in from Wolf. Could be some interesting mind games there. As Linderong on a bit of an adventure, as yeah, Faker's got his eye in on these piercing lights. I think the last 3 have hit lava. He's getting quite frustrated about because at level 7, that thing's got a few points in it.
I mentioned during Champions Night, but it's actually a really good matchup. The Lucian into the Corki, because your piercing light, relentless pursue trades are so much more reliable than the standard Corki phosphorus bomb auto trades. You can dash out of the phosphorus bomb very easily with the slower speed. Thus, you are very comfortable in the lane. Cho'Gath chomped on the Rift Scuttler, but did it too early and actually doesn't get a stack for that.
Oh, frustrating. Linderong, no excuse there either. He played the Dan champion last time.
I'm not going to excuse him. You don't have to either.
Really? But I'm the play-by-play guy. I need to be positive. Everyone's great all the time. That's my MO. Okay, Faker is just going to throw all of his buttons at Lava. There's the culling. Enough distance created, but good trade back from Lava. Regardless. Blue buff now rotating around Faker as well, so happy to use all of his mana like that. And there's the headbutt pole. Sangyun is level 6. That Fate's Call is available. As he gets stunned up by the cow. And look at this, Unbreakable Will may actually be necessary.
Very late.
As yeah, Key is now going to charge up that Nature's Grasp. Unbreakable Will just not quite enough. It's actually going to wear off as there's the teleport. Wolf will fall down. First blood goes to Lava, and that'll help him out against Faker in that mid lane. Songwon turns up to try and deter Faker from taking down this turret. And do they have enough damage? They've got 2 auto attackers to try and smash down this turret on one wave.
Yeah, Phage first, not Sheen, so may not have quite the damage. Take it down fast enough. Gonna get it low, though. Bang probably would have seen his support go down anyway, but the advantage of the teleport coming through is the kill distribution goes onto the Corki, and they get over half of the bot lane HP. There is, I feel like Wolf was just too late on the ultimate. I wasn't looking at his mana bar. I'm not sure if that was a consideration, but his ult was popped when he was down to 100 health, and even with 55% damage reduction, it's not going to be the difference.
Yeah, and I feel like the follow-up CC was just enough. Maybe he thought that he could keep himself low to try and bait the Rox Tigers to dive him under a turret, but that doesn't matter if you don't make it back to a turret. Faker looking for the steal. Someone's going to get himself over. Oh, that was close. Faker is able to lock down his second blue buff of the game and deny Lava of any, but Lava getting first blood, he's probably still going to be happy as, okay. Sangyun's got just a Renowned Hurricane.
Yeah, Hurricane first was a thing once upon a time.
Yeah, I remember. That was a long time ago.
It means no lifesteal in the lane. Does give pretty extensive pushing, that much is very clear. Does also mean you can team fight very early, but you'd like to have at least a Vamp Scepter to get maximum value out of the bolts giving you lifesteal.
Yeah, it may have been that he just saw that he had perfect gold, yeah, and you may as well get that combine. Peanut looking to try and take down this Rift Herald, and looks like no one's actually going to pay a visit to him on this Herald. Look at all of the vision that SKT have available. Linderung actually utilizing those Vorpal Spikes very, very well onto Antara to let him clear out the wave as well as do damage to the Jax.
That does seem like the superior matchup into the Jax compared to the Gragas, where we saw Jax about 20 to 30 CS ahead in just a pretty standard lane. The Rift Herald isn't a guaranteed turret against a team like Rox Tigers, but does usually represent that, especially if a pick can come in first.
Now that wave shoved up on the bottom side of the map. See Songyun still in that lane. Key had gone for a little bit of a roam. Songwon now thinking about what he wants to do next, hanging around the bottom side of the map where they do have superior vision. And only going to continue that forward.
What I want to see from Rox is they went back, bought some control wards. They hadn't had any any control wards on the map down previously. You just picked up a item that considers you auto-pushing in the bot lane with the Hurricane Rush. This should be the time for Rox to actually secure the first Drake of the game, the Mountain, because they've invested the wards, they have the pushing lane and bot. I feel like they're set up to use their vision to actually claim an objective like the Mountain Drake. And if they don't, it means that kind of this power and also the item build doesn't really have a multi-step plan.
No. Whoa, there's a very deep teleport immediately here from Linderung. He's looking for Faker potentially on his transition back. Actually heads in on the cute little Spirit. Look, should be Peanut just flashing his way to safety, and everything's going to be all right. I did not know you could teleport to Sentinels, but it makes a lot of sense. Okay, now going to transition to the gank onto Faker as well as he makes his way back top.
Which will secure the Drake we talked about. So many different ways to confirm this, but Peanut being healthy actually will just lead to Rox pulling away from it, and Cho'Gath needs to hightail it to the top lane as Jack's getting free thwomps onto the outer top lane turret.
Yeah, a lot of thwacks coming in there. It's okay, they're just going to try and grab first brick here towards the bottom side of the map.
Bringing in the Spiderlings as well, do maximum damage. This would be against the flow of the items as well, given the Hurricane was the first complete from Songyun.
Yeah. That's getting a decent amount of damage, but SKT have set themselves up to push this one down if they can get a minion wave towards that turret at any sort of time. Lava completes the worst buy you could possibly buy. Not having that 300 gold for the combined cost. Oh, feels awful.
It is rough. Rox Tigers ahead in gold, still in a really good position, but being a bit dictated to by SKT, who are able to chase them off objectives they've extensively prepared for, and then almost get a free first brick in answer for the play they made. So I like what Rox has been doing, but they've been a little bit too conservative in pulling off from objectives. But you have to respect things like Antara still having teleport up, and also his speed at taking turrets.
Yeah, and this was one of the question marks that we had for Tigers in their first game as well. So not necessarily playing aggressively when they potentially could. Songwon now looking for a dive, and there's the package delivered to Wolf and Bang. They're just going to use this to try and take down the turret, but can they just get more from this as Songyun brings back his tree friend? He's going to be taken down. Songwon is going to fall as well. They don't even get the dang turret as SKT turn it all around. Bang looking to make that another kill. He may have gone too far, but never mind. Triple for Bang, looking for the Quadra. He does get the slow with the Ren. Peanut still looking for it. Pierce comes in. The tower falls in the mid lane anyways. Oh, Peanut picks that one up. Wolf says, I'll secure the kill for you, buddy. Don't worry about that one. And now SKT immediately, out of nowhere, 4,000 gold in the lead.
And it's almost like they were listening to our commentary about needing to be more decisive, about needing to finally make that call. They go for it, but botch it oh so terribly, Atlas. We're going to get a replay of what happened. Wolf the hero with the headbutt pulverized. Maokai almost burned down, but gets back. Watch Songwon, though, who actually gets hit by the feathers, and then that extra turret shot too late on the flash away, and then Bang licks his lips, knows there's exit kills for him. Songyun thinks he can distract, but certainly no ability to do that. Won't be the Quadra for Bang, but a triple this early skips some of the steps that you have to take as a Xayah to get your items going. Essence Reaver complete. Berserker Greaves complete, and on the way to the 2 items for the Xayah.
Yeah, and already has that Zeal, which actually feels like a bit of a spike there as well, as Wolf's going to get the headbutt back, gets the flash out of Linderung as well, as there's the cheeky little stun. Bang, going to turn up, and the slow is there from the red buff. Okay, Wolf did have the didn't have the unbreakable will, so couldn't go for any sort of extended dive. Cute
also, Alistair's always go too aggressively against Cho'Gath and then forget the true damage means that ultimate is of questionable value when you're turret diving a Cho, so respect deserved against the Cho'Gath.
Even I had forgotten about that particular interaction, Papa Smithy. That moment in time does make a lot more sense. Someone going to turn up. Wanting to find Bang. There's the headbutt pole once again. Okay, they knew exactly where the Gragas was, so SKT pull away. Now there's one remaining outer turret SKT can take down, so understandably they've got 3 members on the top side of the map. Faker still pushing things out, and Antara as well as that push on the bottom side of the map. Lane assignments could not be better here for SKT.
2-level advantage too for Faker.
Oh, God. He's just been quietly farming so much. This whole series, actually. Farming in game number 1 was extraordinary. Show that Faker really feels like he has something to prove. Often puts a lot onto his own shoulders with how SKT is doing.
Watch here.
That's so much damage. There it is. No Valkyrie, no flash, no life for Lava.
No compassion for his old teammate. That was a support sub. Now Lava in a new role in the mid lane. It's a much tougher task. When you're leveling up and having to face a player like Faker, the Lucian and the Cassiopeia are looking like perfect additions to the center of his champion pool. Takes down the Corki, waiting for the minion wave to come in, and they might even dive this.
Yeah, Cocoon's going to go wide. Someone considering about finding a cask. And there, Faker actually going to move all the way in. There's the cleanse flash. Gets himself out of the way. Here's the Nature's Grasp. In goes Wolf, and he's just going to sacrifice himself, headbutting people around. And Unbreakable Will's not that unbreakable, and certainly Sangyun is going to be able to lock that one up. And Taro utilizes the pressure given, as does Bang, by pushing out these waves elsewhere. Yeah,
pushing in 2 lanes, so the Alistair going down isn't going to be a big consideration. Mid lane turret going down is always something you don't want to surrender. Faker's still healthy enough to help clear.
But Faker and Peanut easily enough. They're not even going to really get much considerable damage under that particular turret. Rapid fire cannon done for Bang. That's the 2-item spike finished. And, if you're on a killing spree, generally getting items is something that you can do as easily as he has. Lava has his Trinity Force done finally, though. And Tara has done the same thing on the other side.
SKT still have not picked up a Drake, but the Rox Tigers set up for one earlier, have been thwarted on that as well. Game 1 with the 3 Infernals spawning. Even if the Drake was taken right now, we are at a 3 Drake game at most.
There it is. Tigers just need to not be there and they'll be able to take down the turret.
Crazy damage coming out from Bang already.
And that's without his Infinity Edge. Oh, when he does finish off that item, it will be very scary. We'll see whether he actually decides to go for it, whether it's going to be Last Whisper as the next one is Peanut. Incidentally, I believe Q's a popcorn chicken.
Maybe a mortal reminder game like you were mentioning with Cho'Gath, Gragas, and Maokai in the game.
Dominic's as well. I mean, for the extra health damage, probably a good idea. But never really know what you want to do. It's almost like you want to build both, which is hard.
That's the full court press from SKT.
Dodges out of the way of the Rupture and then takes half the health bar of this tanky Cho'Gath. Song1 going to head down. Faker should be slippery enough to get himself out of the way, especially now with the Phage very close to completing that 2-item spike, which certainly is a spike when it comes to the Black Cleaver. 20% CDR part of that.
I wonder how high Lucian will rise in drafts coming up, given that you can blind pick it and you know it's going to have lane pressure like it does in this game. Faker having a champion that can have lane pressure, split push, fits right in the center of the meta, and you can get solo kills on is a pretty terrifying prospect.
Oh, yes.
Especially when you're on the blue side and don't have the ability as a red side team to ban away the Lucian. That's a pretty big problem.
Well, the Bash brothers are back. Zantara and Peanut try to take down Song1, but he does make it to the turret, and Linderung is there to deter them, but this will spell the end of the blue buff. Bang actually going to help out there as well, as Peanut decides that he's the beneficiary. Baron is up. It's been up for about 22 seconds, and SKT are all piled around the pit with a lot of vision available to them.
No control ward on the Baron, though, so for now they have to be a little bit more defensive than they would prefer. A couple of purchases coming out. Lucian and Jax both coming back with a control ward.
And decent item spikes as well. No boots yet for Antara, unfortunately, but you've got the Black Cleaver done, and SKT looking to utilize this to try and take down the Baron. Songwon's going to turn up. There should be a cocoon ready for him. Headbutt Pulve there available from Wolf, but SKT not wanting to stick on this Baron. Just the one Mountain Drake, not quite enough.
Nice read of the map from Songwon, though. That was, of course, coming over the backside of the pit, trying to take down the Baron, even without a blast cone. Both Lucian and Elise able to get onto the Baron, but good read from Songwon, who, by not having vision, was able to stop the Baron secure that may have been the start of the end for the Rox Tigers.
Yeah, you have to feel that having 280 carries and a Baron buff and a Jax, turrets do not last long in a split push Baron scenario. In fact, I think you lose an inhibitor from that just based on where you can put players on the map. Not enough resources to try and clear those out. Wave clear was at a relative premium as well, unless Sangyu can get some time with it, as well as Lava hanging out in every single lane. Scary stuff, Papa Smithy. Rox Tigers not feeling like they have any control at all in this stage of game number 1. There were conversations to be had about the potential of Rox to stall things out and be okay. This feels like a very different story, as there's the flash from Linderung on the bottom side. Lava turns back up towards this mid lane, having to use that passive is Sangyu looking for Faker. Nature's Grasp is not enough at all, though, as he throws in the culling, actually just doing battle. No way that Rox Tigers have enough CC to lock down this Lucian and stop him from safely getting back to the turret.
He almost saw the 1v2 coming there, Atlas, but Faker pulled away, didn't have complete vision, only one control ward around the area. This is what happens when you face SKT and they get ahead, though. We always talk about that impeding dread. We always talk about being choked out of games. One of the reasons that's actually what happens is that until just a second ago, it was 4 sweepers on the side of SKT. They always love their sweepers. Faker has one of the lowest ward per minutes because he switches to sweeper, usually on first back, to try to deny vision. So sticking vision for the side of Rox Tigers is oh so difficult. And in the end, when you have a fed Jax, when you have a farm Delise coming out of the ethers, it's very difficult to actually contest the Baron that SKT is still desperate to take down.
Thankfully, there is one ward that has managed to stick. Key's sort of guarding it here with Songwon, but Saplings as well helping discover some things. And Tara able to farm himself back up to full health. He saw he was lacking a little bit in that department. There's a Warmog's done for Linderung, though. Interesting item buy. He'll have a very, very large health bar.
It's like a different take on the abusing health mechanic. Usually we see the Gargoyle Stone Plate as the completion to get a big burst of health. May still be going that way. The Cloth Armor and the Non-Magic Mantle would certainly suggest it so.
Yeah.
You do thrift shop into a Warmogs very well because it builds out of Kindle Gem, it builds out of Giant Spell, it builds out of basically every health item put together. So building it along the way has been good.
I would like a Bramble Vest, though, against this composition. I feel like if there's ever a Bramble Vest comp, it's this one. Don't have it just yet. Faker clears out that top wave very, very easily. 247 CS, still on that clock. Not quite as far ahead as he was in the last game, but he's on his Lucian. He wants to kill more champions rather than the creeps this time around.
We're just waiting to see what SKT's next step in their plan is. They have control in many areas. They've hit pretty much critical item spikes on everyone except for Bang, who is the Infinity Edge short of being just insanely powerful. They have a Jax that no one can really answer in the 1v1, even with a level advantage onto Linderung. But their warding's a bit haphazard. It doesn't really gain them power over one place. It's just kind of all over the place, spotting out where Rox Tigers is making their moves. And sure, they'll take a Cloud Dragon, but actually getting something like a Baron, actually cracking one of these inner turrets, for now is inaccessible for SKT.
Yeah, feels like Rox have managed to at least solidify some sort of normalcy. Slowed the bleeding. SKT were able to get out because that gold lead has not changed for a very long time. Props to Linderung as well. He was identical in gold with Antara. takes his 1 turret to 3 as well, as Lava taking a lot of damage from Faker. Once again going aggressive. There's the culling. Songwon cannot tank all of that up as, oh my god, very, very close as Peanut has to repel. He may actually just die as he falls down, but no, thankfully there. Oh, the Trinity Force proc. And that's going to do it. Peanut falls down.
Trinity Force proc and a crit. Key just throws down the Nature's Grasp. I guess he wanted to just put it on cooldown for a while.
Yeah.
No one else was chasing. No one else was going to come profit from it.
But Bang got rooted for a moment.
That's true.
So it hit. Okay.
As an Australian, that was a funny sentence. Faker will just leave. Doesn't have an item buy he wants. Goes to the top lane. Starts to push up the minions. It's a kill, but no more than that. For the Rox Tigers. Does allow them to contest vision a little bit and continue to stop the Baron rush that Skt already showed their hand on from happening.
Yeah, getting control around Baron is definitely important. Bang goes back and gets his Infinity Edge, though, so as far as times to fight for Skt, you'd think that now feels like a good option. There's a BF sword there for Sangyun as well as his finished Blade of the Ruined King, though, so he's feeling good. Faker finds Songwon. Cancels a few autos there. It's not like Faker.
Interrupt.
Going to secure the turret.
The interrupt on the headbutt by the body slam there as well, which is why there was no displacement.
Yeah, cute.
So the question should be, imagine, because we talked about how Skt, there was a bit of inaction, is what we would like Skt to do. Hold that thought for a moment.
Well, Bang surviving here would be a good option, but Lava actually decides that he's having trouble. Faker just eats the root. Not too worried about it. Rox, they've taken a little bit too much damage here. Skt now able to clear out some vision of their own. Bang does need to be careful. He doesn't have any lifesteal just yet. As he finds his way in. Peanut takes so much damage. Just bopped around everywhere. It was a ragdoll in that fight. Wolf has to flash. Bang moves out of the way of these rockets, but Rox still want to put the pressure on. They want to take down this turret, and they should be able to do so. Decent snare onto Songwon, but he doesn't really care as Key moves himself forward.
And these ultra frontline comps have so much engaged. The Fate's Core into the Twisted Advance about as reliable as can be for the Maokai. The whole time Faker was off split pushing, so he will get an inner turret, the first of the game for Skt. But remember that when you go for these tanks, we talked about it when we had the 7 tank comps earlier this week. What you can do, Atlas, is you can definitely turret dive. It is very straightforward. You don't have to have as great management of your side waves if you can just brute force through with double AD carry, triple tank. And sure, they lose a couple of turrets in the side lanes, but Skt, they're taking objectives against Rox Tigers. So if you think about it, they do go 2 for 1. But the control around the Baron, that's not what they've been able to do. The control ward line hasn't necessarily been able to secure them things. The Baron, though, they're going to start on, they have a lot of damage.
Yeah, they're going to add Bang to this mix as well. So with this Mountain Drake, Bang, and Faker, they've got so much damage. It should actually be a 50-50, but Songwon doesn't get the Flash Smite, and they deal with him as well. Now the fight is on. Lindarog taking so much damage in the front line as Key's not as tanky as the other Maokais that we're used to seeing, but good Fate's Call to keep him safe. But Faker gets over the side. Knockup comes in, but that is going to be the sacrificial tree. And 3 kills and a Baron buff, and Skt, their onslaught on these structures is certainly there. As Lava has to be very, very careful. Faker happy to jump under turrets here as well. Oh dear.
Gotta say that SKT's Baron takes cleaner than we've seen from some other teams. Rush onto it, know the timer. Smite is on point from Peanut. They're gonna break the base on this single push. And Skt, that looked like they may have been thwarted for a while, make the decisive call that catches Rox snapping, even though Songwon was oh so perilously close from getting the Smite steal away. They break the base in multiple members, and now actually they're just a couple more turrets away from just routing Rox Tigers.
Now where do they go next? Bottom lane looks to be pushing forward for Skt. They want to spend some of this piles of gold that they've just picked up. There's a cheeky Cloak of Agility there for Faker, and he augments that with the BF sword, so Infinity Edge going to be 4th item for the Lucian. That's a lot of damage, yeah. No Flash Smite to come out from Songwon. Felt like Rox had really committed to a fight they didn't want to take at that point.
Yeah, by the time the tanks come rolling one by one, there was no way for anything to happen. Songwon, the Cocoon, is what really thwarted him, even though he got very close. The Smite went through before he entered the pit. Aaron breaks the base in the top side. Bang is looking massive as he adds on the Lord Dominic's regard to the Infinity Edge. He finished at 3rd item
That was an outright Lord Dominic's regard as well.
Yep.
That's a fair bit of cash.
Now the Jax will go top lane, push up a minion wave, while the rest of the team groups around the bottom side of the map. In those super minions.
Inside track vision here as well on the bottom side of the map. SKT controlling everything, apart from this control ward that Rox have been able to sneakily put down. Not a lot of control wards in the inventories of SKT. Wolf is the only man with any.
Face-checking brush is not something they need to do so much. They can just roll down the lane with the Baron buff, and also Jax pushing in the super minions faster than expected into the top lane turret. Someone's going to have to react to that.
Tara, as soon as he can get multiple people to respond, which they have to, because Baroned up super creeps, they attack real fast. It's a frightening thing. Faker's going to move down to the bottom lane, Bang pushing in the mid lane, and we mentioned this before, there's just a lot of structural damage, a lot of wave clear as well to fast push these waves, and not enough members of Rox to deal with this. Bang wants to get himself a red buff before he tries it again, and SKT take a moment to get this Ocean Drake.
And it's largely to actually make the Elder Dragon spawn and have another objective that Rox Tigers for now won't be able to get to contest spawn that might allow SKT to safely end the game. So not so much about the Ocean, but just getting the Elder onto the map around the 38-minute mark.
Also feels like Faker just wanted to kill something on his way to his blue buff, and then Infinity Edge purchase, which he goes back to base and does right now. 2-0-2 on the Lucian, but 4-0-3 for Bang on this Xayah. He hasn't really been one of our Xayah players, but it looks like he certainly has.
Quietly, 4-0. He's been less on it recently. You know, during the loss streak, didn't play the Xayah once, and now gonna move to 5-0 on the Xayah. It's like all the AD carries have picked it up after Kramer was being so extensive and prioritizing it higher than any other AD carry a couple of months ago.
And being very successful on it as well. It wasn't necessarily Bang that was leading the charge on that, but it was during the time where SKT looked like they could win with, you know, only Amumu's. And Songwan is really struggling, but is able to utilize his explosive cast for the disengage. He just tanks up the culling just to make sure that nobody else dies, even if he didn't necessarily have to. Bang taking a fair bit of damage there. There's the Nature's Grass, so SKT probably will soak that one up, but decent disengage maneuver.
It buys Rox Tigers the time for a minion wave to roll in, unless you just face tank it.
Yeah, Bang probably not the optimal player to face tank it, but still, seems to work as Linderung. I could have done his funny little Cho'Gath dance. Cho'Gath dance is a cute one. He's going to really struggle to keep this Jax off this turret. No more Baron buff. That is good news for the Rox Tigers, but half the health bar this mid inhibitor turret. And remember, there are super creeps still heading towards the top lane. But to be honest, Pop Smoothie, I feel like Rox Tigers have managed to survive through this after that initial inhibitor take better than expected.
And because they don't have bruisers who actually do struggle to kill super minions, because if they walk up, they can actually get chunked out. Cho'Gath on his own can delay a full minion wave and clear it pretty decently fast with the Vorpal spikes. He can play in one lane, and Jax can't dive or really just kill a turret next to him with how much true damage he's able to put out. So his delay tactics are strong. It is double AD from the Rox Tigers as well. So the delay is good, but the delay is only really buying them time. In a minute's time, they haven't been out of the base to put vision around Baron for the entirety of the Baron timer. So it's not actually going to really help them to win the game. It just really helps them to extend the game.
Yeah. It's at this point where SKT knows there's no sight wards that Rox have any ability to put down. So red buff going to look to be contested. Rupture goes wide. Wolf right in the middle of this fight, and Bang picks up the red buff. There's that pulverize onto Linderung, who takes so much damage. Faker over to the side, just wants to lock down Key, and both big tanks have been removed. It's only Songwan has any semblance of that front line, and SKT, with these two picks, should be able to follow it through for another inhibitor. There's an open one on the top side of the map as that just respawned, and then, conveniently, a Baron buff in 30 seconds, or a Nexus to destroy if they can get any more of these picks.
You're going to wonder why Rox Tigers followed them into the red side jungle when there was no Elder Dragon to fight over. There was nothing to fight over in that area, and that just might be the game for SKT.
Yeah, Nexus turrets are falling down. There's the flash on Songwan to get himself to relative safety, but the Callista explodes. Lava is able to pick up Faker, but that's going to be the trade-in as Bang grabs himself another one. Nexus turrets will be destroyed, and there goes the Nexus as well. 2-0 once again for SKT.
And SK Telecom with that Telecom War, the next fixture for them next week on Thursday.